Good afternoon, everyone. Our topic for today is all about intellectual disability. What is intellectual disability? Intellectual disability, formerly referred to as a mental retardation, is characterized by a combination of deficit in both cognitive functioning and adaptive behavior. It is approximately 75% of people with intellectual disability are only mildly affected, with 25% moderately and severely or profoundly affected. Intellectual disability, mas nagiging prominent siya kapag nag-school age na ang isang bata. Although, depende pa rin ito doon sa severity na tinatawag nating retardation. Kasi may tinatawag tayong mild, moderate, severe, at profound. Itong mga batang ito, nakikita natin talaga na delayed sa lahat ng aspeto. So, unang-una natin makikita, dito delayed sa intellectual ability niya kapag binigyan ng IQ test. Makikita mong significantly sub-average. Yung IQ score kapag sinabi nating significantly sub-average, ang ibig sabihin nito, mas mababa ng di hamak kesa sa normal na bata yung kanilang IQ. What is the differences between intellectual disability and mental retardation? Ano nga ba ang pinagkaiba ng dalawa? Intellectual disability is also the same as mental retardation. Actually, relatively recently lang, binago yung mental retardation kasi masyadong negative ang connotation pag sinabi agad na mental retardation. So, tinawag na siya ngayong intellectual disability, which is deemed as more politically correct. So, para may negative connotation kasi retard, actually, may problema lang sila sa intellectual. What are the most common causes of intellectual disability? The most common cause of intellectual disability are genetic condition. Sometimes, an intellectual disability caused by normal genes inherit from parents, errors when genes combine, or other reasons. Genetic ang pinaka-common na intellectual disorder, yung pareho yung itsura nila, yung Down syndrome. So, usually, yung facial feature ay may problema sa chromosomes, kaya iisa ang itsura nila. Genetic ang tawag doon. The second one, compilation during pregnancy. An intellectual disability can result when the baby does not develop inside the mother properly. Ang compilation during pregnancy, ito yung isang intellectual na ang kapansanan ay maaari magresulta kapag ang sanggol ay hindi lumaki ng maayos sa loob ng ina. For example, there may be a problem with the way the baby's cell divide. A woman who drinks alcohol or gets an infection like rubella during pregnancy may also have a baby with an intellectual disability. The third one, problems during birth. If there are complications during labor and birth, such as baby not getting enough oxygen, he or she may have an intellectual disability. Problem during birth, ito naman yung problema during labor, hindi sila makakuha ng sapat na oxygen ang sanggol, kaya there's a possibility cause ng intellectual disability ng isang sanggol. And the last one, diseases or toxic exposure. Disease like whooping cough, the measles or meningitis can cause intellectual disability. Disease or toxic exposure, ang sakit tulad ng whooping cough at tigdas o meningitis ay maaari magdulot ng intellectual disability. They can also be caused by extreme malnutrition, not getting appropriate medical care, or being exposed to poisons like lead or mercury.
How to help people with intellectual disability. Services and support are expected to respect the desire and interests of people with intellectual disability and their families, and to support the high quality of life standard desired by all members of society. In intellectual disability involves problems with general mental abilities that affect functioning in two areas such as intellectual functioning, such as learning, problem solving, judgment, and the adaptive functioning, activities of daily life such as communication and independent living. Intellectual disability encompasses the cognitive part of this definition, that is, a disability, and is broadly related to thought processes. Because intellectual and other developmental disability often co-occurs intellectual disability, professionals often work with people who have both types of disability. Intellectual disability, the same as developmental disability. Developmental disability is an umbrella term that includes intellectual disability but also includes other disabilities that are apparent during childhood. Developmental disabilities are severe chronic disabilities that can be cognitive or physical or both. The disabilities appears before the age of 22 and is likely to be lifelong. Some developmental disabilities are largely physical issues, such as cerebral palsy or epilepsy. Some individuals may have a condition that includes a physical and intellectual disabilities. For example, Down syndrome or fetal alcohol syndrome. Ang Down syndrome ay kilala rin bilang trisomy 21. Ang fetal alcohol syndrome naman ay ang pag-inom ng alak sa panahon ng pagbubuntis ay maaaring seryosong makaapekto sa pagbuo ng fetus. There are three important components of children to be identified as having an intellectual disability. Number 1 is intellectual functioning. Number 2 is adaptive behavior. Number 3 is educational developmental performance. Intellectual functioning refers to the general mental ability that includes reasoning, planning, problem solving, memory, attention, perception. And the adaptive behavior naman includes real life skills such as grooming, getting dressed, avoiding danger, following school rules, and making friends. And the educational developmental performance is a term used to facilitate early identification by public school personnel